Hey guys, it's me, Dax Moy from DaxFitLife.com, here with another of the short kind of nutritional myths and bullshit series, basically. And in this short video, I want to talk to you about the myth of must try harder. See, I'm running a group at the moment, the January Jumpstart group, and I'm seeing kind of comments from people who are struggling with various elements of their nutrition. To be honest, I must say I think they're doing amazingly well in there, but they're still struggling with a few elements, not quite getting to 100%, and that's fine. But interestingly, what keeps coming up again and again and again and again and again is this idea of them saying to themselves they must try harder. It's weird. People give themselves a whole bunch of crap, like they give themselves a bunch of shit about not being able to get to the 100% mark, and it's almost like a kind of a finger pointing at themselves, kind of must try harder. You're not doing your best. You're not really putting forward enough. And I think a lot of that kind of mentality, that story that we're telling ourselves about must try harder, is actually what makes nutrition and good nutrition so difficult in the first place. And instead of rewarding and recognizing the fact that we are making some steps toward getting things right, all we can see are the things that we're getting wrong, right? Wrong. So, people believe they must try harder and they must push harder and they must get stricter and all the rest of it. But they ignore the one piece of, I guess, the piece of information, the piece of understanding that would make complete sense about why it's so difficult for them to make some of these changes. And it's this: they're already in overwhelm. Okay, think about this. You're already in overwhelm. Overwhelm is a sign of having too much to do and too little time to do it, or whether it's too little time or too little energy or too little something, right? So you're balancing the school runs and your job and looking after the home and paying the bills and doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this, right? And you've got all these things going on in your life, and then suddenly some well-wisher like myself comes along and says, hey, you know what would be really good? January, kind of good time for a January jumpstart. Yeah, let's get your life in order. And we come along with a big list of all new stuff for you to do, okay? So here's the question. Since when was the answer to being overwhelmed to find a whole bunch more stuff to do, right? It never was. And in fact, doing too much is a good opportunity for you to become even further overwhelmed. So I'm trying to be really, really careful with the information that I give to people. I know in some ways I contribute to the overwhelm. Hey, here's something else I'd really like you to read. I'd like you to take the time to do this. Well, look, the way I see it, reading a lot of the posts that I put out, or taking the time to watch a video like this that has a potential long-term knock-on, is actually more valuable than you actually putting your trainers on and actually going out for a run or going to do your workout today. It's also more valuable than necessarily, if you have to choose between this and taking a bit more time to go for a kind of a shopping run to an organic store, this is probably actually more valuable. And I'm not just saying it because it's me saying it about my own stuff. What I mean is anything that is going to contribute to, over time, you reducing your overwhelm is going to make a bigger difference, okay? So this is the distinction between working hard and working smart. When you're working smart, what you're doing you can see as an investment for the future. And it may not be the very best, it may not be in the best alignment in the short term with what you're trying to do, right? In your mind you might think, well, really what I should be doing is getting to the gym, and I should be doing my work, and I should be doing this, and I should be doing, right? Well, actually a good sign that you're caught up in the wrong way of thinking are all the list of shoulds that surface, okay? But if you actually say, well, hold on, if I do this thing this once and I get the correct understanding around why I'm not getting the results that I'm trying to get, that may be enough to make all of my future actions that much more powerful. And that's really what this is about. The concept of training hard versus training smart. Most people that are in a training hard workout or hard mindset have a tendency to put themselves in a position where they think, I've got to try harder. I've got to try harder, and the truth is, it's never ever going to be hard enough. No matter how hard you are trying, you're always going to find another way that you could have taken it to the next level. Okay, so what I say is try smarter. Try working smarter. And a way to do that, it's really difficult when we're caught up in the midst of our own issues. It's really, really difficult to be kind to ourselves. Okay, but here's what I would say. What advice would you give someone you love around the situation you find yourself in right now, like whether it be one of your children, whether it be a sibling, whether it be kind of your husband, your wife, whatever? But what advice would you give them? They say to you, hey, I'm really, really overwhelmed right now, and I'm feeling pretty crappy, or I didn't stick 100% to my diet and I didn't do this, would you say, well, damn it, you've got to try harder? You just pull your thumb out your butt and you better work harder? Or would you say, well, hey, I can see that you're trying and you're doing your best at the moment, and sometimes that's just life. Okay, this isn't about making excuses. This is about just giving ourselves a little bit of kindness, as opposed to just trying to say we can muscle our way through everything. Muscling our way through everything is the surest way to make sure that you have an extremely horrible experience of what you're going for. Okay, muscling your way through a diet, muscling your way through forcing yourself to go out and work out in the pissing rain, or starving yourself to the point where all you can think about is food all day long. That's a great way to have a really negative relationship, not only with your diet and your exercise plan, but with life in itself. Okay, it becomes pretty grim. So how about working smarter? How about working smarter? What would be the smartest use of your time around diet? If you know that you keep running into the same obstacles again and again and again, what would be the smartest? So, for example, here's an example of hard. Fill the food cupboards and the fridge with cheesecake and biscuits and crisps and cookies and candies and all the rest of it, and then sit in the living room all night, every night, thinking, I could really eat one of those cookies. I've really got a flavour for it, right? That's working hard. You've got to now sit there and fight against it. Working smart is to say, okay, I know I have a hard time fighting these things, so instead what I'm going to do is just not buy the bloody things and stick them in my cupboard. That's working smart. Okay? It's also, we could arguably say, it's coming on to working kinder. Like, how about just working kinder to yourself? Kinder to yourself says to remove the things that are going to put you into those dichotomies, into those predicaments where, oh my God, I have to really struggle against this. Well, being kind would say, well, hey, again, come back to one of your kids. Let's say one of your kids are sick or whatever, and they're on antibiotics, and there are some things your doctor's told them they must not have this, otherwise the medication's not going to work. Would you fill the kitchen cupboards up with all the foods that they can't eat and say, well, you can't have those candies, you can't have that, but hey, why don't you go out into the kitchen and just keep looking at the packets and know that they're there, but you can't have them? What would the kind thing be to do here? The kind thing would be to actually take them out of your children's sight, right? Be kind to yourself. Like, what is the kindest thing I could do to myself in this situation? Is it to continuously buy my chocolate and stick it in the fridge and say I'm keeping it there for a rainy day? Or is it actually kinder to say, do you know what, if a rainy day happens and I really want it that bad, I can jump in the car and go down the store and get it, but I won't keep it here to tempt me all the time? Smarter, kinder, okay? Don't buy into that bullshit that you're not trying hard enough. You are definitely trying hard enough. I've never met a single person who isn't trying hard enough. But you may not be trying smart enough, and you may not be trying kind enough. And that's my challenge to you as we come to a close in this video, is to simply ask yourself the question, what is the kindest way to do this? What is the smartest way to do it? Because I'm not calling you a horrible person, I'm not calling you stupid, but I'm fairly certain that when you really frame it through those two questions, could I do this in a kinder way? Could I do it in a smarter way? The answer will immediately be yes. So that's my challenge to you today. I hope that makes sense, and I'd really love to hear your feedback about what you think about this particular Mad Rambling. Ultimately, my aim here is to get you away from freeing yourself of blame. Okay, when we're trying harder, it really just does become a judgment situation. Okay, if you think, well, it requires this, and all I've been able to do is this, then immediately that gap, by definition, becomes a, well, you can see I didn't really want it bad enough. And a lot of society wants you to buy into that story. Okay, what I'm saying is, free yourself of blame. This isn't about a good, bad thing. This is about a, have I been smart and have I been kind? And if you run your program through that, I think you're going to see a big difference. So this has been me, Dax Moy from DaxFitLife.com. I hope that makes sense, and I'd love to hear your responses to this video. Take care.